everyone, it's Misty, and this week I'm back with a special guest, so stay tuned. All right, we are back with Allie from Taren Studios. Allie, thank you for being here again.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
I am so grateful that you were willing to do this again. And if you guys didn't see the last video that we did together, we made her beautiful Macintosh quilt, so be sure to go back and watch that if you missed it. But we have another great pattern to share today, right? Yes,
this one is the Horizon Lines quilt, and basically the inspiration from it is horizon lines.
Yeah.
So in choosing like colors and stuff for it, I like to, get on Pinterest and search sunsets or like landscape or stuff like that. And that's kind of where these colors came from.
It's beautiful.
So for these colors, I was searching sunsets and, loved the oranges and the pinks. And then kind of when it hits like a cloud, you get this dark line, and then it goes up back into the sky. And so that's what I was trying to do with this one. Kind of a night sunset feel.
It's really, really beautiful. And so for this quilt, we'll be making the throw size, but in Allie's pattern, there's actually 4 sizes that she gives you the requirements and the instructions for. So really great no matter what size you want to make. But for this one, you need either 10 fat quarters or 10 quarter yards, right, of the different colors. So do you want to talk about, the colors that you chose? You started on that a little bit, but let's go through those.
So yeah, like I was saying, I like to kind of look at different landscapes and horizon lines and everything. So there's this other quilt that I made from my own stash. And for that one, I was looking at more of like a beach.
Okay.
And kind of how it transitions from the sand, goes into light water, and then hits, your dark.
I love that.
Horizon line there. So that's, kind of what I do with.
I love that. It's so easy to look at nature and find inspiration. And, and it's sometimes in the most unusual places. Because if you looked at this quilt, you maybe wouldn't know that that's where the inspiration comes. And I love hearing that that's part of the process that you have in your head as you're creating. It's really, really cool. All right, well, let's dive in. I can't wait to learn how to do it.
Yeah, this one's a really fun one. It's a really simple, easy, straightforward pattern.
Okay.
So we'll start out with, so today we have we have quarter yards.
Okay.
You can do it with fat quarters. There are instructions, a layout guide in the actual pattern that tells you how to do that. So we'll just start out with your quarter yard fabric.
Perfect.
And I am a person that likes to get as much cutting done at once as possible.
Yeah.
So if you're comfortable doing this, I like to layer like multiple colors at once. Yeah.
I think that's perfect. As long as, like you said, as long as you're comfortable with that. You have a good grip on your ruler and can do it safely, it's a good time saver.
Definitely don't go too crazy and load up multiple layers.
But I think 4 is usually pretty safe.
So I like to do it that way, and we'll just start with, so you're just going to be cutting out squares and then rectangles to create your blocks.
Okay. So what is our square size?
So these are 6 by 6.
Okay.
And again, if you are doing multiple layers, make sure you count, twice before you cut, or multiple times.
Or you'll be
Always
sad.
do that.
Yes, exactly.
So go ahead and cut your strips. I like to cut them in strips and then cut them down from there. You do need to make sure that you will get enough out of your strip before you start cutting either way.
Okay.
So for this one, we'll start making the squares out of this.
So those are just 6-inch squares that we're cutting, right?
Yes, just 6-inch squares.
Perfect.
So I'll go ahead and cut this little piece off. And then we'll go just 6 inches. And then that way you already have,
a couple
4
ready.
squares.
Yeah.
Yep, you're already there.
Awesome.
And then you'll also be cutting out some rectangles. Which will, sorry, I forgot to cut this part down. So you need to cut these down to 2 3/4. So
Okay.
you're going to be using, you know, all of your fabric in this.
Yeah. So for sure, when it's close, you want to make sure that you're really double checking those measurements before you make your
Yes.
cuts, because you'll be sad if you make a mistake.
For sure.
So 2 3/4
Yep.
on that.
Oops.
That's another thing you run the risk of if you do multiple layers,
Yes.
right?
So be very careful. And then these will just be 6 inches again.
Okay.
Double count.
Yeah.
And then there we have those
The
strips.
same sets. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
So then from there, you'll go through, and chain piecing is also your friend on this pattern.
Yep.
I am a big fan of it. So then from here, we'll go and add the sashing, which are 1.5 inch strips.
Okay.
And again, chain piecing is your friend on this pattern.
Okay. Awesome. So we'll just lay that on here. And we'll zoom right down the side, and I believe that is it 1 3/4 yards for all the sashing and border fabric that
Yes.
you need? Okay.
Yep, and then you can sew that one on.
Awesome.
And so you'll have a big stack of sashing. So I like, when I go to make these blocks, I like to separate them into equal piles. So it'll tell you how many of each square you'll need per color.
Okay.
And then, so if you just separate it equally in half, then you know I'm going to sew a piece of sashing to this stack. And then once I'm done with that, so you can take those off and press
Okay.
them. And then once you're done with that, then you'll just go back through and sew the other half right onto the other side.
Okay. That makes sense. Press that one and this one. All right, and so then it's just same colors,
Yep.
right?
Same color to same color, yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Make sure I'm all lined up. There's that one.
And that
One
one.
more. All right. I can tell already that this is a quick one
Yes.
to make.
It is a quick, easy, and a really fun one to make.
Okay. And then I'll press these as well.
Yes. And then from there, there's also some sashing pieces that you will need
Okay.
to go in between all the lines, and it gives all the instructions on the size of those.
Okay.
So then from here, we will take these blocks and these just squares,
Okay.
and you'll go color by color and just do row by row. And in the very back, it gives, you know, a layout guide.
Oh, perfect.
So then you'll just go through and you'll see I need, you know, this combination of one of these blocks and then a square. And in between those, you have the same sashing that you used.
Okay, that 1.5 by 6 inches, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And you just put those in between all of them and sew it all together. So you
Okay.
do row by row and then just a strip of sashing in between.
Okay, perfect. Do you have any tips for lining up?
I do, yes.
Okay.
So that can get a bit tricky. I had these, I wanted to show you. So this is,
Should we move this so they can see?
yes.
Yeah.
So this is the very first row.
Okay.
You'll see that it'll match up the same as that one.
Yeah.
And then I already went ahead and sewed a piece of sashing to the next row. So when you are sewing them together, obviously do right sides together, but it can get a bit tricky just making sure that you're lining up your seams here.
Yeah.
So when you're going along, I like to first lay it out this way. You can go through and pin it all,
Okay.
which is probably the easiest way.
Yeah.
If you are not a pinner, then just make sure that you are
When you fold
lining
it
up.
back. Now let's show that
So
again
when
to
you
make
go-
sure they can see. So see how she just flipped that back? And you can see how these seams, we want those to line up when we have them here. And I probably would pin, just because I'm a person who I'm very linear, and it will bother me
Yeah.
if they're off. And it's easy for it to get off, I've found. And so
Yes.
it's kind of worth it to take the
Yeah.
time, or at least check every time you get to those junctures to make sure they're lined up the way that you want.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, and an easy way. Again, just what we were doing is just to watch that as you're going along, and you can just keep checking to make sure that you're
That's awesome.
lined up.
This is beautiful. And so it just goes together in rows, and then she's gone ahead and added an 1.5 inch outer border all the way around, and used that same fabric for the binding as well. So this is just beautiful. And what does this one measure? It's
59 by
59 by
66.
66. Okay, beautiful. And again, it's called Horizon Lines. And so, Allie, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself again, in case they missed you the first time, where they can find you online, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm from Utah, and I just love designing modern quilt patterns for modern spaces. I love, I have a more modern aesthetic and interior design and all of that, so I love creating things for that. And you can find me on Taren Studios. You can find me on Instagram at Taren Studios, and then also at tarenstudios.com.
Perfect. So thank you so much for being here. She
Thank
has
you.
all kinds of beautiful patterns, so be sure to check out all of the beautiful things that she creates. And hopefully I will have you back again soon.
Yes, I'd love to be back.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Hey everyone, it's Misty. Thanks for watching at home. If you aren't already a part of our Missouri Star family, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you want a notification every time we release a new video. I'll see you next Monday on the newest episode of At Home.